time to talk waste. We just got back from driving about, I think 90, 100 miles to replace our Camco Rhino Tote Tank. And the reason why is that our old one, which is just over a year old, less than a year old, sprung a leak, which was not fun. So on this video, I'm going to talk about the Camco Rhino Tote Tank and our experience with it over a year, the replacement, and then some other issues we're having. So we also have a leak in our gate valve in the black tank, which is something that can happen over time. But unfortunately, we are nowhere near an RV dealership. We're nowhere near anything. We're at Yellowstone National Park. Actually, we're at Henry's Lake State Park, which is outside Yellowstone. So what I've done is I've attached the Flush King to our sewer termination. So I've got an extra gate valve at the end there to hold any leakages that are happening. It's a slight leak, but it's enough that, you go to dump, you pull the cap off, and a whole bunch pours out, or it drips onto the ground. Obviously, I don't want that. So, I've put the Flush King on there to give me that additional gate valve. Now, they do make a bayonet sewer connection gate valve that can be your final termination valve. And to me, I'm kind of like, why doesn't every RV have that? So if one of your valves goes bad or starts to leak, you have a final termination valve. Anyway, they're back ordered because of coronavirus. They haven't been manufacturing those, nor are they manufacturing the Flush King right now. Or if they are, they're way back ordered until November. At least I have this as an option. I'm actually borrowing the Flush King from a neighbor camper here. So not only have we had a leak in our Rhino Tote Tank, we're at a state park without sewer hookups, where I do need the tote tank. And we've also had a leak in our RV near Yellowstone, 100 miles away from the nearest RV dealer. So it was fine for almost a year, not even a year, half a year. And then it was not fine anymore. Now, that might have had something to do with maybe the way I strap it down back there or something. The straps do go over that spot, so I put pressure on it. So I'm going to try to not do that with the new one. Now, you may be asking, if I had an issue so quickly with that one, why did we replace it with the same model? First of all, we were on a have to buy one now schedule. And at the store, we looked at a couple different brands. We looked at the Thetford. And the Thetford, first of all, was kind of too smooth on the top, and I didn't think I would be able to strap it down conveniently anywhere. And I didn't like that the hose and stuff is all stored inside it. The construction of it, it's funny coming from somebody who just had an issue with one. The construction of the Thetford actually seemed a much lower quality than the Rhino, even though I had an issue with the Rhino. So I'm giving the Rhino another shot. Now, they did not have the 28-gallon model, which was our old one. They had the 36-gallon. And let me put them side by side so you can see the difference in size. If you're wondering about this, that's the new one over there, and here's the old one. And what is great about these, what I do love, several things. So one of the most important things to me is these notches here that allow me to strap the tote tank to we have this rack back here, and that's what we carry our tote tank on. So I need to be able to strap it down. And what I also love is, so we've got a fill here. So if I want to fill it with water, I can do so. And also right here, we've got a tank sprayer, just like a tank sprayer inside your RV. You can hook your hose right up to this, and there is a sprayer in there that will spray the inside of the tote tank. Big old strong handle on the front, which is nice. That metal part there is to hang it from a ladder if you have a ladder on the back of your RV. And then we've got a bayonet fitting on the front where the hose connects to drain. Now this is where I've had a problem. So you can see I've actually tried to spray some Flex Seal on it because that's all I had. I might be able to fix it with some silicone, but I'm also not interested in pulling around something with all kinds of white silicone on the back of it, looking like I might be pulling sewage that might leak at any point. And I just thought I really ought to replace this. So the leak is coming from, you see the seal? This whole piece goes on separately at the factory apparently. And the leak we developed was along that line. I'll show you on the other one. You can really see that seam there and down around there. So they're actually not that different in size. The 36 gallon is a little bit longer and it is a little bit taller, but not by much. Now, a couple things. One of the reasons I like the Rhino is these big wheels. I think they handle campgrounds a lot better than a smaller wheel. It's just my hunch. But one thing that was a problem from the beginning, if you look at these caps, I'm actually missing the cap for this, and this cap here. You see these straps here? They attach right in the middle. You can see where there used to be a post there. That had one, that had one, that had one, the orange cap that goes on there. And they all busted off within the first month of use. So it's nice that they sort of have a lanyard system to hold that stuff together, but it didn't really work out well for us. Now, the other thing that I really like about the Rhino and why I bought the Rhino instead of the Thetford you have to lift up at the dump station from the handle to dump it. The Rhino has a gate valve, so that makes it really convenient to hook up at the dump station and pull that to dump just like you would dump your tank normally. And I really do love that. And that is the biggest selling point by far to me. And you don't really even need to do any tipping. Let me also show you what comes with the Rhino. You get a short sewer hose with caps on either end for it to hook up to your, you use this both to hook up to your RV to dump and to take up to the dump station and dump. You get this hose adapter, which goes into that fill on the top, the one where I'm missing a cap. So what this does is changes the direction of the threads on your hose so that you can actually hook up a garden hose to it properly. And it sort of gets it away and keeps your garden hose a little bit cleaner and just make sure you have this one dirty thing. You get the bayonet elbow that's clear. I love that they're clear. The Thetford also didn't come with clear elbows. It was gray. And as much as you might not like looking at your sewage, I think it's important to be able to see what's coming out of there. It really can tell you if you have a clog or not. So the double bayonet is what allows you to hook up to the hose on the end and to the top of the Rhino tank at the same time at the campsite. And then when you go to the dump station, you switch to this one, which just hooks up to the hose and then gives you the what they call this, the 4-in-1 adapter on here at the end, a graduated thread that you can plop into the dump station. These are great. This is what we use at a full hookup campsite as well, because these threads right here of different sizes generally will screw right into the hookup, so you don't have to have any sort of weight, any sort of one of those gaskety type things or anything. It just screws right in, and you've got a really solid, positive connection to the sewer without worrying somebody's going to trip over it and pull it out, and you're going to dump all over the ground or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and dump into my tote tank, and then I'm going to take it up to the dump station and empty it out. And if you want to see that process, keep on watching. When you fill this thing up, you have to undo one of the vent caps in order to allow air to escape. Otherwise, you'll have difficulties for sure. Undo one valve, undo the other. And the nice thing about the clear elbow is you can stop it and look down inside and see how full you are. Now I know the Thetford has an automatic stop, but my concern with that is that you still have sewage in the hose. But hey, it'd be nice to have on these Camco guys. Camco, think about that. And I'll say this, 36 gallons makes a load of a difference. That was the black, and now I will run some gray water in. Let's see where we are. Getting close, not quite there. You can kind of hear it through that vent tube when it's getting close to being full. And then I kind of do this. I kind of give it a little bit of love. All right, while we're on our way up to the dump station, first of all, let me say I might get some comments about the fact that I'm not wearing gloves. And why am I not wearing gloves? And I'd love to hear your opinions on this. But I know some of you are looking at like, ew, why is he not wearing gloves? I don't feel gloves are any more sanitary than my bare hands. In fact, sometimes I feel like they're worse. Like they're a false sense of security. I've got my outdoor shower, which is, you know, a stupid name for them. They're not showers. It's like an outdoor utility water. But I use my outdoor shower, it's mainly the only thing I use it for, to wash my hands with hot water when I dump. We're pulling it here into the dump station now. Whenever you're pulling one of these things through a campground, you always want to go like no more than 5 miles an hour, because their wheels are definitely not meant to do a whole lot more than that. Anyway, so I don't wear gloves. I use hand sanitizer. I'm not a big hand sanitizer fan either, but when I need it, I feel like dumping your sewage is a good time to use it. Here we are, and you'll see how easily this empties. The other thing though that I want to say is the 36 gallon is much heavier when full than the 28 gallon was, and the 28 gallon was still pretty darn heavy. So if you have a problem lifting weight like that, you might want to consider smaller. There's a 21 gallon as well, in 18 I think. You can, however, get the 4-wheel version. So the 4-wheel version has 2 little wheels on the front, and it has like a wagon handle, so you can pull it around like that. Much easier to tow around. It's just more expensive. It's like $70 more. So here we go. Let's dump. One of the best reasons to have those clear nozzles is that I can see when this is cleaned out. Plus, I like to close the gate valve, fill it up a portion away, or if I really want to clean it out and fill it up all the way, then dump it again. The ones that don't have a sprayer, that's how you clean them. You just hook up to that hose attachment there. So if I wanted to fill this faster, I'd hook this up here, and then I'd hook the hose to that, and that would fill it up faster instead of just spraying, which is a little bit slower, but it sprays around everywhere. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me empty my family's waste. So to recap, the Camco Rhino, I love the Rhino sewer hoses. The Rhino stuff works really well for us, except for when it didn't. Comparing stuff in the store, not that I'm reviewing the Thetford stuff, but comparing the different tote tanks in the store, it was hard not go with the Camco again, even though I had an issue so quickly. Now, maybe I could have contacted Camco, but like I said, we were in a bit of a bind and in a need for one right away. And that's what you deal with. Sometimes when you're a full-time RVer, you don't have the luxury of waiting. So, that's the Camco Rhino Tote Tank. Leave your questions and comments about dumping your waste below, and I'll be happy to answer them if I can. Until next time, Keep logging those RV miles. Bye, everybody.